Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Right now it's about Levi's nap time. He's getting kind of cranky. So I thought I'd show you guys how to swaddle a baby. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. And I'm going to show you, I think there's like about 3 to 4 different ways that you can swaddle a baby. Now he's 6 months old, so he's a little bit bigger. He currently doesn't fit into any of his swaddle blankets anymore that he had, so I use a considerably bigger blanket. But when you have your baby in the hospital, if they show you how to swaddle, this first technique is probably what they're going to try you to do. Now, again, you will be with a considerably smaller blanket that's going to be more your baby's size. But, again, he has kind of outgrown all of his blankets, and I've decided to start using this one for him because it was my security blanket when I was a toddler. So, I don't know, sentimental values and whatnot, so I like to use it with him. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this first technique. I'm not sure how well I'll be able to show you because the blanket is so big, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So you can tell his pants are off. That's just a personal preference. I personally don't like sleeping under blankets with pants on. I get too hot, and I figure he will too. There's some times when I do let him sleep with pants on that I will come and wake him up from a nap, and like his whole back will just be covered in sweat. So typically we take the pants off just for a more comfortable sleeping time for the baby. So I'm going to move him really quickly to show you what I've done first. Just move him off to the side. I've picked a corner here, so you can see this is a corner of the blanket, and I've just laid the whole blanket out. And then I take this corner and I bring it down, and I want to make this fold right here to be about the same length as my baby's shoulders, maybe just a little bit longer, but not by very much. And I'm going to take my baby and I'm going to lay him where his shoulders are right up here where this seam is. I'm going to bring you in here so you can see a little bit better where the seam is. You can see right where his shoulders are, where the seam is. It is a little bit longer than probably what I should have done, but I'm going to pull it down tight enough to where it won't get up in his face. But if you don't pull these down tight enough, we're going to pull them at an angle here. If you just do it straight across, you risk it getting in your baby's face. But let's go ahead and swaddle him up. Okay, so again, this is the swaddle that they would do in a hospital. They would have you take the bottom end of your blanket here, so the opposite corner from where your baby's laying, and they would have you bring it up here to about their belly. Now you can see obviously this blanket is way too big to be doing that. So if you're dealing with a bigger blanket but you still want to fold them in like this, I would suggest just folding down the blanket, and then you've got your sides here on either end. Now I like to take baby's arm and put it down right here, and then I just bring over the blanket at a nice tight angle, and then I'll kind of roll his little bottom up and tuck the blanket, and then I'll take this other arm, bring it down to his side, bring this at a nice snug angle again, and then you roll baby, and you have that tucked in, and you have yourself a nice little baby burrito. So another option that you can do, and that they showed us at the hospital, is you can swaddle them to leave their arms out. He's going to be like, "Mom, what are you doing? This is nap time. I'm already swaddled." So, again, you can leave him up like this if you want. And then you would probably have the blanket down a little bit further past their arms, like right under their armpits, if you want to leave baby's arms out. And then it's going to be the exact same technique, just like so. And then tuck it, and baby is all swaddled. Personally, I don't do this. I find that tucking his arms in works the best, and even when I worked at the daycare and I swaddled babies, most of them would pass out pretty quickly. Even up to like 2 and 3 years old, you swaddle them, and this will knock them out. You might have to rock them a little bit, but they'll fall asleep. So that's swaddle number 2. Now the way that I typically do him is I leave the bottom part out. Now he is able to break out of the swaddle. It's not overly tight, and yeah, I do it like this so he can break out if he wants to, but I just tuck him in like so. Again, I didn't fold up the bottom piece, so this is all just going to be loose hanging fabric. I take the other arm, tuck it, roll him again as such. Now, just for record, he does not sleep on this bed. I'm just filming here. He will be put in his crib. But then I tuck him, and then the leftover fabric here, I just lay it out in his crib and leave it straight out. And that way he can kick himself, he can kick, he can break free, he can like get his feet open if he needs to. So you can see here, if he kicked enough, he would be able to free his feet up. And I just do that personally for my baby because it works for him. Sometimes he will break out of his swaddle and then he'll continue to sleep for an extra 30 minutes to an hour. So I just do that for him because it works for him. Now, if you think that your baby needs to be completely tucked in, especially if they're a newborn, I would recommend tucking in the fabric. But since he's bigger, I don't worry about it so much. So this next swaddle you can do, I would recommend it more for, say if you're in public and your baby needs to take a nap. You can leave this part up right here. So such like this, you can cover their face. Maybe bring him down a smidge more. And then you can do the swaddle as usual, as I showed you with all the others. Just like so. But then, if you're out in town, and I would not recommend this for like regular sleeping because you're not going to be, unless you're going to be sitting there staring at them, you're not going to be able to monitor them very well. But say you're out in town and they need to take a nap and the lights are bright. If you swaddle them like this, you can cover up their face. But with you holding them right here, you can adjust where the fabric's at to whether or not it's covering the nose. But it'll cover up their eyes enough that they don't have like the bright lights on them, which can make it harder for them to sleep. So as you can see right here, his little binky is sticking out. Got an eyeball sticking out right now. But if I was out in public, I could just kind of cover that up. And then his mouth is showing and his nose is showing. But then his eyes are covered, so we don't have to worry about bright lights, and he can take a nap. Another option that you have for swaddling is that you don't have to tuck them in if you don't want to. Let me fold this down real quick. Get down. Thank you. So you just lay them back down here as normal. Again, I wouldn't recommend swaddling them with extra fabric unless you're out in town, you're going to be holding them yourself. That can be dangerous. Because you don't want them to be getting the fabric up over their face and not being able to breathe. So, as I've been showing you, I typically tuck the arms when I do a swaddle. Another option that you have is that you don't have to tuck the arms as tight. You can kind of do a looser. You can have the arms here if you want them to kind of have their arms together. There's different variations, but I feel like you get a tighter swaddle when you do tuck the arms down and you pull over, and then this arm is free and on top of the fabric. So if I do this opposite, so you can see from the camera, I've got his arm tucked here, and then I'm pulling this over and tucking this under his body right here. And then this arm would come down along that seam. I don't know what else to call it. And then you'd have him well tucked, and he's not going to be able to move around a whole ton. But again, you can always do a looser swaddle, whatever's going to fit for your baby. That's just the one that I find works best for us, and that's the one that we use. But otherwise, I hope you guys have found this video helpful. That's all the ways that I know how to swaddle. There may be more. I think swaddling is really easy. It works. Again, when I worked at the daycare, we swaddled babies that were up to about 2 years old, and it knocked them all out. We swaddle them up, put on some sleepy time music. I can leave a link to a YouTube video down below that's like 8 hours of sleeping music. And that music with a good swaddle will knock out pretty much any baby that I've come across. And once at daycare, we had some that were colicky, rambunctious 2-year-olds. Like, it knocked all of them out. So I would definitely recommend learning how to do a good swaddle. Again, it's really easy. It's not difficult at all. And I found for pretty much most babies that a good swaddle will guarantee a good nap. Now, when it comes to swaddling at nighttime, I say do it with discretion, whatever you feel is best for your child. I will swaddle for nap times because he won't take a nap unless he's swaddled, for one. And for two, I'm popping in and out of his room. Like, I'm very aware of what's going on with him and his blanket, if he has it over his face or not, which I've never had him get a swaddle over his face. But I don't swaddle him at night because, for one, he goes to sleep really easily at nighttime without being swaddled. And for two, it just worries me. I'm a worrywart. And I feel like putting a blanket in with your baby in the crib is an unnecessary risk, so don't take it unless you have to. But if you have a baby who's colicky and swaddling them is the only way to make them go to sleep, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. So we'll go ahead and end that here. I hope you guys found this informative. Leave any comments down below, any questions, any comments, what have you. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.